Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. We'll get started here shortly. Hopefully, not too much longer, but we'll get started in just a few more minutes. So we'll get started here in about, I don't know, 2 minutes or so. But thank you for joining. Today's Tuesday, July 23rd of 2024. So this is Lunch and Learn. It's going to be a place to ask questions, get some help, and ideally learn something. So we'll get started here in about, I don't know, 2 minutes or so. So if you're watching this later, you can probably skip to the 4 minute mark um, around those lines because that's when I'm going to get started. All right. We're at 12:04. So I'm just going to start talking. Welcome to Decisions Lunch and Learn, to our esteemed guests. Uh, we have, my name's Robert. I'm on the screen right now. I'll go ahead and share some of the stuff. I know that everyone that's in here has seen this 100 times, but I'm going to do it anyways. On the top right, we have the YouTube channel, which we post these lunch and learns as well as other training materials. On the bottom right, we have the Decision Solutions Marketplace, which is maybe no longer new. I should probably adjust that, but it's just it was new about a month ago. But I'll show some of those things off right now. So let's kind of go ahead and move some of the Zoom stuff around. Cool. So the solutions marketplace, again, we have lots of featured items, accelerators to get you started quickly, to kind of loosen the gap and the friction to actually getting a project deployed. And some of these you can implement into your project. You'll notice that when I click on one of these, it'll tell you kind of what it features. So like this email template generator. Let's get rid of this altogether. It has forms, workflows, rules, things along those lines, and you can implement those into your projects. Another worthwhile thing to kind of talk about is we do have events going on. We have one that we've been working on diligently, coming on July 31st at 1 p.m. This is going to be AI and rules engines. I do know I kind of spoke with some teammates earlier today, or heard them speak, and they spend a lot of time on this. We have people coming in from the healthcare industry. We have guests that have already implemented decisions into their healthcare workflows. But again, this is going to be a big one. So July 31st, we have, again, we have some people that are we have people that are coming in from the industry to talk about how it has applied to them. And again, this is going to be a good one. So on July 31st, we have some information here for that webinar. We also have real life events, submerse events. So these are free. You just got to get yourself to them. So we have deep dive training in Virginia Beach, Virginia, September 10 through 12. We also have Submerse APAC deep dive training in Singapore through one of our partners. If you are in that side of the world, and we have another one in Virginia Beach in November. So basically, every 2 months, we have two stages of these 3 day boot camps. We have a beginners and an advanced session. So, again, maybe talk with your organization. As long as you get out here, it is a free session. I do believe we feed you most of the days as well. So, you just got to get out here and find a place to stay or get out to wherever you're going and find a place to stay. We have one going on right now, I believe, in Denver, Colorado. Yep, right here, July 23rd through the 25th. So, unless you're already there, it's too late for you. But these are good options for you as well. So we talked about those. Another thing I think is just a worthwhile while I'm kind of just going through resources. We have this example lab on documentation. So if you are watching this later on YouTube and you're like, hey, I want to learn something, but kind of learn at my own pace, I don't really know what I want to learn. This example lab, if you go to our documentation and search for it, it has example projects and form controls, things along those lines that you can just simply download and import into your decisions instance and check the functionality of it. So those could, should, would be good options for you if you are trying to learn some stuff. So that is what I got on the front end of this beautiful Tuesday lunch and learn. Let's kind of just poke around a little bit. I'm trying to think of what we can do. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I always never come as prepared as I should be. If we don't have any questions, and if you do have a question for our esteemed guest, feel free to put it in the chat, and we can maybe get some smart eyes on this side. But again, um, generally speaking, we're kind of just floating through this process here today. What do I have that is new? Oh, I know what I can show you. Come on, here we go. Brand new. I know we said the Decision Solutions Marketplace was new, but this is brand new. Brand new. We do have new training material that just came out. We just launched it today on process mining. So if you are interested in the process mining course, it is a free course. You can feel free to reach out to training@decisions.com or sign up for our training through our website. So if you go to decisions.com/training, I believe. Yep, you can register there. But again, this is going to be for broad training. If you want something more specific like process mining, you're probably going to want to reach out to us directly at training@decisions.com and we can get you enrolled. It's free. We spent quite a bit of time going through and speaking about the various elements within process mining. So, introductory all the way down, and there are exercises associated with these things. I got to kind of do some clicking around here, but there's exercises associated within those. So, that could be a good option for you as well. Process mining, if you want to learn on your own time and maybe not between the hours of 12 and 1 p.m., Monday through Thursday, that would be good for you. All right, process mining, we talked about it. So within decisions, let's talk about some stuff here. I guess I mean, this is kind of a simple approach. And again, if anybody has anything they want to talk about, just put it in the chat or something. I can get some guidance. But um, earlier today, I was talking with some people going through training about case entities and how they work and how to utilize the configuration folder in a way that is efficient, and kind of thinking about analogies and ways to explain this to people. So you'll have projects, you'll have builds that use this case entity structure, which will create a configuration folder for you. Within that configuration folder, you can set states and user actions within those states. So when I create this structure, this I9 application structure, which is just a defined data structure, it gives you this configuration folder. Again, maybe not directly related to case entities, but within this configuration folder, it allows you to take folders that are full of data and run steps and actions to adjust those folders and the data within them. So for this particular use case, we have two states in our project, unsigned and signed, and we have user actions that associate with them. I guess the big point that I think is unique to this that you might not know if you're just getting into this is within these actions like sign document or assist with signing or view document. These are just custom user actions I made up here. Create a user action or add an activity right here, user action, same kind of process. I guess the key point that I want to kind of emphasize is that when you are utilizing the data here, notice how I don't have any options for inputs up here. No input data where we would normally find it. However, there are a number of different type of data that you have access to um, automatically. And the one that I want to talk about today is this folder ID. So within the folder ID, it's going to basically be a unique identifier. You can think like a serial number or just a way to identify a folder and the data that is within it so that you can perform actions within it. So by default, by being in that configuration folder, that folder ID will be populated when you try to run these actions. So when you select a record and try and perform a user action on it, it will dynamically populate the folder ID of that action. So notice how, again, on the front end, no inputs defined, but I do have the option for folder ID because we're taking that folder ID and thinking of it as, a serial number or a unique identifier, and we're passing that data through the configuration folder. Now, how does Decisions get that folder ID? Decisions gets that folder ID when you click on one of the records and you run one of those steps. And again, I have hidden some of those steps, so you're not seeing all of them. But when I go to run some of those, like let's say this one called view document, what are we doing? We are getting the folder ID to get the file references in that folder so that we can populate a form to just view the data, the document, I guess. I guess it's technically a document, just a document viewer. And when I run sign or view, apologies, it will, if there was a document to display, it would show said document. And again, right now, I guess all of these are not provisioned correctly, but we probably broke it at some point in the process. But generally speaking, let's turn on the global debugger and kind of run one of these. Notice how when I right click on one of these random records here, let's pick I9 app number 36 and view it. No document to display, but we can look over here and say, okay, we had some visibility rules about what you can and can't do. But notice how on here, it gets that folder ID for you dynamically because that's the record that you selected. Again, that's that kind of unique identifier of that folder and the data within it. So that is a useful insight into how that kind of process works. It does pull it somewhat dynamically for you when you select a record and you choose to do some of those user actions on it. What else is new in the world here? Normally, when I do these sessions and we don't have a lot of questions, I do the version 9 overview, but I'm not going to do that today. I've decided that I've done that enough. If you want a version 9 overview, you can email me, trainingdecisions.com, and I'll do a personal one for you. But um, I'm not going to do it today because everyone here has seen that one 100 times. Um, what else is new? I don't really know there, Sir VT. I don't have much for you. You got anything you want to? It's just me and you. I think all my teammates have dropped off. What do you want to show me something? I know you can't share your screen, but you can navigate me to something interesting. All right, let's keep killing some time then. Do about another 5 minutes and see if anyone else joins. But again, if you want to show me something interesting, something or uh, new, you can train me. I'll be the one to learn while you lunch. All right. I guess trying to stay away from version 9. What else do we have here that is somewhat new? What other than this? I think this is an interesting one. Well, I don't know if it's interesting, but if you can elaborate on it, that'd be kind of cool. But it's an interesting point when it comes to permissions. We were kind of messing with this earlier, and I was trying to figure out or another one of my teammates was trying to figure out some of these permissions. But within a folder, within permissions, so if you go to manage permissions, notice how if I add a permission to this, let's pick a random group here, just an arbitrary all users. Let's see if this is the one I'm thinking of here. Yeah. So there's some permission inheritance with some of these tasks of can use, can open, and can view. And not traditional inheritance. Inheritance isn't the right word because that's actually used for something else. But there's some repercussions, maybe, of permissions that we've been kind of tooling with here. Let's see if we can find it here. But just a note permissions, setting folder permissions, maybe. I just want to learn about the different types of permissions. Here we go. So by default, generally, you're going to be using can use, can open, can view. You have all these other ones you can do as well. But an interesting thing that we kind of stumbled in is that if you set up the permissions where someone can view and can use something, but they cannot open it, and then you save it and you go back in to edit it, it will by default, see here, save them. By default, manage permissions. It will default turn that middle option back on for you, can open. So can view and can open have some um, limitations or inheritance. Again, it's not the right word, but they will kind of carry over some of that functionality. Whereas the inverse, it does not happen. You can use and can open, but can view. If I go to save that way, it will lock it in as far as I know, where that one stays unchecked. But if we do can view and can use and disenable can open, you'll notice that it auto checks it back. So again, just an interesting thing I've been kind of learning and tooling with is like who, what, when, where, and why is that the case, and when would you utilize that? But it does automatically override that. And again, here's the actual technical term for permission inheritance, which is just if you enable uh, permissions on a parent, the children will inherit those permissions or they will not based on how you enable or disable permissions. But that's the correct using of that semantic term, permission inheritance. But again, maybe that's just semantics at this point. Yeah. So again, we have process mining, brand new. We've been kind of overhauling some of this version 8, version 9 training. So if you've gone through version 8 and you want access to version 9 stuff, we have rebuilt a lot of that, as well as on our YouTube channel. We've been kind of building out stuff based on questions. So we have just put out a couple based on data structures and data members and the different types of data modeling. So data structure deep dive, data modeling deep dive. We put those out in the last couple of weeks, as well as some information on version 9 and the changes between dependencies, how project architecture works, and troubleshooting in version 9. That is all relatively interesting. Also, refreshing dashboards by folder event and refresh by key event steps. This is something that's a little architecturally deep, but just the differences in your refreshing dashboard options, whether you're doing it for the current user or for the group or things along those lines. I think I just edited this one. I did not make it. But yeah, it basically talks through various permissions and has a split screen kind of control. And this is not going to load while I'm on Zoom, but explaining how different groups might see data based on how different grouping permissions and different refresh events might go through your flow. So let's just, here's what we'll do. Kill a little bit of time. We'll download one of these example labs and we'll import it and see what it looks like in version 9. just for fun. Let's find a something that I can use, probably standalone, maybe a form or something. Form logic. Um, no, it's a little too big for me right now. Sub dialog button sounds pretty too small for me right now. Let's check this one out. Select all option to a list. We're going to download this thing. We're going to import it into my version 9 because I can. Drag and drop that thing over. Hopefully there's no issues. That'd be a little embarrassing. Speaking of issues, let's see what is going on here. Mm, love that. All right. Guess it's not going to import for me right now. Won't even let me close out of this thing. Let's try it one more time. Let's try to import it into the actual forms folder and see if we can get it in there. Nice. Let's go. Starting import. I love that. So I guess we're learning. Yeah, if you want to import things cleanly, your best bet's going to be importing it to the place that you want to actually to go, rather than just a broad designer folder. Cool. Example form, parent flow. Let's take a look at some of this stuff, man. So we got this form. Let's just debug and see how this works here. Maybe not the best UI. My guess is, I haven't looked into this at all. My guess is this is an active form flow that is triggered. I'm double verifying that over here in the debugger when I do this. My guess is there's active form flows that will set form control. Am I right? No, I'm not right. Interesting. So you're taking data from a data name and populating it. Select all. And then you have these data names, A, B, and C. And we're getting that data there. So how is this actually working? Let's do some reading here. Parent house form checkbox select all, user select all, data runs in the form, it triggers once select all, value changes. It contains a rule that checks if a Boolean value and two create data steps, one for each outcome. Where are those? What am I missing here? It's not an active form flow though. So it's running to a flow somehow. So my guess is that maybe this is pre-active form flows. There's another flow here that runs somehow. Yeah, so that data is running this flow. I'm not sure exactly where this flow is set at. Oh, here we go. Let's go, dude. Q&A time. It's privacy in the legacy section. Thank you, man. Let's check it, dude. Let's check. Let's check. See, I'm the one learning. I refuse for there not to be a learning opportunity here. Boom. That man knows. VT knows his stuff. Yeah, there you go in the legacy section. So yeah, this is probably super outdated. Um, but hey, it's a functional test, and I was loosely right that it was an active form flow. Um, but hey, like I said, I'm just kind of trying to show off the various. Yeah, man. I'll let you chat. Why not? Oh, it's not giving me the option. Oh, there you go. What's up, man?
Hey,
Hey,
is that only me?
say it again.
Is that only me here?
Yeah, it's only you. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay. I don't have much. If you have any questions, I may help.
Yeah, the only I guess do you know why that folder permission thing? Why that you can't set to just two of the permissions?
Oh, because they probably work in progression, so from lowest permission to highest. So you cannot have something higher without have something lower checked.
Okay. That does make sense because if you do the first two, it will not auto check the third. Let's try some of that. Let's do one
Well,
more.
can you try one test? So
Yeah,
can you just check one like administrate and see if all of them will be checked?
yeah. Let's do it that way. That's literally what I was about to get to. Uh, like can administrate. Okay. Save. Let's go back and check it. Manage permissions. Yep, that's right, man. Very smart. There it is.
So you see how it did, because you can administrate it, basically gives you all permissions.
Interesting. And what was the word you used for it? Not scaffolded, but what was the word you used to
Uh, and progression from lowest
progression?
to highest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Guess we're learning. Um, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't have much for you today. As you obviously know, I've kind of been killing time, but unless you got something, I guess we'll probably call it here.
No, not today.
All right, man. I'll see you next time. I always appreciate seeing you and having you in here. So I'll see you next time.
All right, see.
Thank you.